I think the hardest part about being a Christian was being better than everybody else. Because that's kind of what you have to believe, right? Like, you have to believe that you have all the answers and that everybody else is wrong. And you can't doubt that either. Like, doubting God is the number one sin. All right, you guys don't know your sins. I'll teach you. It goes murder, premarital sex, premarital gay sex, marital gay sex, and then at the very top, critical thinking.
You're probably wondering why I decided to open this video with a comedic skit. Well, the reason being is this is going to be probably one of the most trigger-inducing videos I've done so far, and I thought it would be a good idea to inject a little bit of levity. And now that's over with, it's time to buckle in, and let's get things moving. This is your one and only trigger warning. If you do not like people's thoughts on religions, something that questions religion, then this is not the video for you. If you are willing to listen with an open mind, then sit down, buckle in, and keep your arms and legs inside the vehicle at all times. Let me start with a question. What if the very beliefs that shape our lives are not as pure as they seem? In the early 4th century, the Roman Empire was a vast land filled with different cultures and beliefs. People worshipped many gods, but among them, Christianity was beginning to grow. This new faith often faced severe persecution, with many Christians hunted down simply for their beliefs. As Christianity gained followers, those who practiced the old pagan religions found themselves in danger. Pagan temples, once lively places of worship, were targeted. Many were destroyed, and people who worshipped the old gods were tortured or killed for refusing to abandon their faith. This violence forced paganism into hiding, pushing its followers underground, where they had to keep their beliefs a secret. Now enter stage left Constantine, a young general caught in the chaos of civil war. The year was 312 Anno Domini, and as he prepared to battle his rival Maxentius, we'll go with Maxentius, for control of the empire, he faced a crucial moment. One night just before the battle, he saw a brilliant vision in the sky, a glowing cross with the words, "In this sign, conquer." Inspired by this vision, Constantine adopted the cross as his battle symbol. He won the battle and emerged not just as a conqueror, but as a potential saviour for a divided Rome. However, the real challenge was ahead, not with swords, but with beliefs. Constantine understood that to unite the empire, he needed a common faith. In 313 AD, he made a groundbreaking decision by issuing the Edict of Milan, which allowed Christianity to be practiced openly for the first time. This was a strategic move to strengthen his power and end the fighting that had plagued the Roman Empire. The cross transformed from a symbol of suffering into a symbol of control, uniting the empire under a single belief. Those who still worship the ancient gods found themselves pushed into secrecy, hiding their practices from the world. But was Constantine's conversion a sincere act of faith, or a clever plan to solidify his rule over a struggling empire? As we delve into this exploration, I'll be holding religion to account, putting it on trial. Are these belief systems, be it Christianity, Islam, Buddhism and others, genuine source of faith? Or are they merely mechanisms of control? This isn't just an academic exercise, it's a challenge to examine how these beliefs shape our lives and societies. Prepare to question everything you thought you knew about faith and its place in this world. So, religion. You're probably asking yourself, what makes me the perfect arbiter of all religions? Truth is, there isn't anything I can give you that offers as proof. What I can give you is my own personal story. See, growing up, I was in a family that was very diverse with religion. It was a mix of devout Christians, not so devout Christians, agnostic Christians, I suppose you could call them, atheists, devout Catholics, seriously devout Catholics, and not so devout Catholics like my father. When I was growing up, one of the things that interested me the most was religion. In fact, in school, my favourite class was religious studies. It might have had something to do with the teacher. She was beautiful, but it always got me interested to understand each religion. Islam, Buddhist, Judaism, it didn't matter. And I often found something curious, because with religion becomes tribalism, and in tribalism a lot of key things tends to get missed, because you don't want to compare yourself to somebody else, because your religion is always the best. When you can take a broader view of all the religions like I do, when you become a spectator, things start to become interesting. So here we are. I have decided in this video to put religion on trial. Now here's the thing, I can be the defense, I can be the prosecutor, but I can't be the jury. That's your job. That's what you are here to do. You are here to judge both sides. I'm going to present both sides to you. And that's what makes this video fun, because you get to sit there and think, hang on a minute, what side rings more true? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it control? Is it not? And the only way to do that is by a fair trial. As fair a trial as I can give. So I'm going to start in a little bit differently. Normally trials start with the prosecution, but this time I think it's only fair that we start with the defence. Let's get that right out the block straight away. So I present to you the defence. Religion. It's been called outdated, superstitious, even dangerous. Today, many skeptics, especially atheists, argue that faith is blind obedience. But is that really the full story? Or is religion just misunderstood? An easy target for criticism? Before you rush to the judgment of religion, you need to understand that the image of religion painted by its critics is often far removed from reality. Yes, religion has flaws just like any institution with power, but to say it's only about control oversimplifies. Religion is deeply embedded in the human experience, and more often than not, it's a force for good. Throughout history, religion hasn't just taught us what to believe, it's shown us how to live. Consider William Wilberforce, the Christian abolitionist who dedicated his life to ending the British slave trade. He drew from his faith the conviction that all people deserve freedom and dignity. Without the moral foundation of his beliefs, the fight for human rights might have taken a very different course. Or, why don't we look at the American Civil Rights Movement, where Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. used Christian principles of love, justice and non-violence to challenge racial segregation and oppression. His faith wasn't just personal, it was the moral backbone of a movement that changed the world. But religion is not just about morality. Faith goes beyond guiding individual actions. It builds communities and serves as a force for compassion and charity. Take the Islamic Relief, one of the largest faith-based humanitarian organisations in the world. From war-torn Syria to disaster recovery in Haiti, they provide food, medical care and education to millions, driven by the Islamic principle of zakat, the duty of charity. Then there's the Red Cross, a global humanitarian organisation founded on Christian values of compassion and neutrality. Today it operates in over 190 countries, providing relief to billions. And on a smaller scale, local places of worship have always been the heart of their communities. Churches open their doors as shelters during cold winters, mosques feed the homeless, and temples run food drives for those in need. When crises hit, it's often these religious communities that are the first to step in and offer support. During the COVID-19 pandemic, places of worship, be it virtual or physical, became lifelines. Religious communities stepped up when governments struggled to keep pace. They delivered aid, offered comfort, and gave people a sense of hope when everything else felt uncertain. Religion didn't just help, it became a source of strength that carried people through the worst of it. But the impact of religion isn't just collective. On a personal level, faith has transformed lives. It has helped people overcome addiction, rebuild relationships, and find peace where there once was chaos. Think of organisations like Alcoholics Anonymous, which incorporates faith-based steps to help millions recover from addiction. Or individuals who credit their faith for getting through trauma or loss. These personal transformations are deeply rooted in the sense of purpose and the hope that religion provides. Religion doesn't just shape individuals and communities, however, it has inspired some of the most important cultural and artistic achievements in human history. From the grandeur of the Sistine Chapel to the towering beauty of Angkor Wat, religion has inspired architectural masterpieces. Religious music, art and literature have elevated human expression for centuries. These works weren't created out of fear or control, they were born from devotion, creativity, and the desire to connect with something far greater than themselves. And yet, religion has endured for a millennia, not because people were forced into it, but because it offers something irreplaceable, hope in times of crisis, moral guidance when the world seems to have lost it all, a sense of purpose that helps people find strength in their darkest hours. It has inspired the greatest works of art, music and philosophy, and for billions of people today, faith is not a burden, it's a gift, providing peace and meaning in a world that seems to have lost every ounce of it. So there you go, there's the defence of religion, and you got to admit it's a good defence. There is a lot of good that proves religion is more than a form of control, it's a moral guidance. But then there's the prosecution, which is about to come down on religion like a ton of bricks. And I'm going to warn you for the last time. If this is the sort of thing that you find triggering, if you do not like religion being scrutinised, you might want to look away now. But also remember that maybe this is exactly the thing you should be watching. I present to you the prosecution. I can't argue that the defence has put forward a beautiful and wonderfully articulated argument that shows how religion's foundations consist of kindness, charity, and moral teachings, all of which have shaped societies for thousands of years. There are millions of examples of acts of faith that seem pure, that seem selfless, that even seem divine. But what if the real genius of religion is not just in the good it promotes, but in how it hides the control behind the good? History has shown us what happens when control relies on oppression alone. When those in power rule by fear, force, and domination. In those instances, empires collapse, tyrannies fall, rebellions rise, and everything goes to pot. Because fear may keep people in line for a while, but it also breeds resentment, hatred, and eventually revolt. When power is built on fear, it is fragile. It cracks under pressure, and sooner or later, it shatters. It always shatters. But true control, lasting control, comes not from fear, but from faith. It comes from the belief that the system is just, that the power is righteous. Religion, with its acts of kindness and moral guidance, makes people feel safe, protected, and most importantly, willing to obey. They never question the chains that bind them, because those chains are wrapped in comfort. I guarantee that right now, as some people are listening to this, as I am lifting the veil on religion, they are uncomfortable. They're not wanting to hear this because that's how they are pre-programmed. You see, religion, for thousands of years, it has shaped the world, promising hope, salvation, and morality. But behind the words of faith, behind the acts of charity and kindness, lies a darker truth. Religion has always been more than a moral belief. It is power, and to keep power requires control. From the moment religion took root in human history, it became a tool for those in power. Leaders quickly realised that faith could do what no sword ever could. It could bind people together, enforce loyalty, and subdue rebellion. And the most effective form of control? It's the kindness that hides behind the righteousness. Take the Crusades for example. Religious leaders called on their followers to wage a holy war, claiming it was God's will. But beneath the calls to faith lay a hunger for power. The wars may have been fought with swords, but the weapon that won the war was belief, control, disguised as divine command. And there's the wonderful time in human history that was dominated by the Spanish Inquisition. What began as religious tribunal to root out heresy quickly became a machine of fear and repression. Torture, executions, tools of terror, all justified in the name of faith, because when people believe they are acting in the name of God, they will do just about anything. There is absolutely no debate that religion has united people. But equally, there is also no debate that it has also divided people. Throughout history, it has been used to create divisions, to foster hatred, and to pit people against one another. And all of this is done in the name of control. The Protestant Reformation tore Europe apart, plunging nations into bloody conflict. Leaders on both sides used religion to solidify their power, stirring fear, hatred, and fanaticism. And even today, we see how religion is wielded as a weapon by extremists who manipulate faith to control their followers, to wage war, and to spread terror. These groups promise paradise but deliver nothing but bloodshed, using fear as their greatest tool. But control of religion doesn't just stop with fear and division. It seeps into every part of life, especially the wallets of the faithful. Religion has long since been a vehicle for amassing wealth, not just for the salvation of souls, but for the accumulation of power. The selling of indulgences in medieval Europe wasn't just about saving souls, it was about building the church's empire. Promising forgiveness for a price, the church preyed on fear, turning faith into currency. It wasn't salvation they sought, it was wealth. And even today the pattern continues. Look at the rise of megachurches, where faith is nothing but a business. The line between charity and exploitation often blurs. Some religious leaders build empires on the donations of their followers, living in mansions while their congregates struggle to make ends meet. But the most insidious form of control is not financial or even physical, it's psychological. Religion can be used to manipulate the very thoughts, emotions, and fears of its followers. Through confession, guilt, and the ever-present fear of eternal damnation, religions hold immense power over the minds of the believers. They are taught to believe that every thought is being judged, that their salvation hangs in the balance. This isn't just faith, it's another form of control. And now you are probably starting to see the pattern. You see, we've seen the darkest side of control in modern cults, where faith becomes a cage and followers are driven to their deaths in the name of devotion. Leaders like Jim Jones didn't need chains or prisons. They had belief, and belief, when manipulated, is the most powerful chain of all. And today, religion's role in control hasn't faded. In some places it's grown stronger. Political leaders align themselves with religious institutions to gain the loyalty of the masses, to suppress opposition, and to maintain their grip on power. In countries like India and Israel, religious nationalism is on the rise, used as a tool to unite populations under one identity, often at the expense of minorities. Religion becomes not just a belief system, but a weapon wielded to justify exclusion, oppression, and domination. But perhaps one of the most effective ways religion has ever been used as a tool of control is through the enforcement of the belief in just one God. You see, when you have devotion to one God, one set of beliefs, and ultimately one authority, life becomes much easier for those in control. Because in a world where many gods exist, so do many sets of rules, many interpretations, and inevitably many conflicts. In a system like ancient Greece, where each god commands loyalty in different ways, followers may be divided. My god demands this, your god demands that. Control becomes fragmented. Power is then shared among too many divine figures. But the rise of belief in just one god, that division was erased. One god means one set of rules, one authority. No conflicting beliefs, no division in loyalty. It is the ultimate consolidation of control. When there is only one God to obey, the people must follow one path without question, without resistance. Belief in one God removes the uncertainty that comes with many gods. It simplifies the power structure. If the law of one true God is broken, punishment is clear. There are no debates, no alternatives, no appeals, just obedience. One God, one ruler, one order. As paganism was toppled and the belief in many gods erased, control became easier, more centralized. The many voices of many gods were silenced, replaced by the single, unwavering voice of one true authority. So while religion may offer comfort, charity and guidance, it has also been a system of control, one of the most effective the world has ever known. When devotion is unified under one God, that control becomes absolute. In a world where only one God exists, there is no room for dissent, no room for rebellion, no room for freedom. And that has to make you think. Because when a belief system is tactically beneficial, just like Christianity was beneficial to Constantine, when a belief system allows those in power to consolidate control, enforce obedience, and silence opposition, its motives must be questioned. This isn't about faith, it's about power, and power, when it hides behind the cloak of righteousness, cannot stand up to critical thinking. Because control, when disguised as faith, is nearly invisible. But now we've pulled back the veil, we've exposed the tactical advantage of religion for those who seek power. And when control is this calculated, this deliberate, it's no longer just a belief system, it's a strategy. One that demands question, and one that demands we question its true purpose. And on that note, the prosecution rests its case. Whichever side you land on this religious debate, whether it be defence or prosecution, you have to remember that no matter what you decide here, religion is going to ripple through our lives and through society for many generations to come. It's only when we scrutinise religions and what they can do we understand what their possibilities are and the motives of those who use it for sinister and nefarious reasons. But it's your turn, your decision as to whether you follow religion or not. And it's also your turn to be the jury, To give your answer, to give your deliberation, I want you to go into the comment section below once you've watched this video and give me your perspective. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for liking my video. If you have, please hit the thumbs up. If you haven't, nothing more I can do. I've put all my effort into this one. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. It does help. And follow me on X. That'll be handy. My handle is in the description below. It's just CodeUnknownYT. You see it on the flashy thing going around, CodeUnknownYT, YouTube. And yeah, and I shall see you next time. So until then, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Always be critical thinking. And never take information you see online as gospel. Ta-ta.